So in today's video, I've just created this really cute, I'm calling it my camera bag because it originally is for my camera bag. So it's this really cute little bag for my camera, and you can also use it for your skincare or your makeup, and you can also change the size of it so it's a bit bigger or it's a bit smaller. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and I hope it's really easy to understand. These are the measurements that I use, but you can definitely change it if you want a bigger bag or a smaller bag or whatever. So you will need a zip, any zip. Mine was 23 centimeters. And then you'll also need your outside fabric. You also need a lining fabric, but I just used normal black plain fabric that I had around, so I chose this as my main fabric. And then you need some sort of batting or some sort of quilting fabric that you can find at your local store. This is batting fabric to puff up your bag, but you can get it in different sizes. Here is all the pattern pieces cut out. You're going to need 2 lining fabrics, 2 main fabrics cut out, and then 2 of your batting fabrics also cut out. Very simple things. And then you need 2 squares. I did them 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters, and these are going to be our little tags by our zips. So the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to use a water erasable marker, and we are going to map out where we're going to sew our quilting down. So I did my lines 2 centimeters apart, as you can quite see, and then we are going to pin our batting fabric onto the main fabric, and we're going to sew them together. So you're just going to follow these lines all the way down across both your patterns. And then this is what it should look like at the end. So I'm just using some water from my iron to remove those blue marks. And then you should get something like this at the end. Now I'm just going to repeat the exact same step on my second fabric. And then now we're going to insert the zip. So you're going to put the zip right sides together with your main fabric, and then you're going to put your lining fabric on top of that. So I just pinned this in place so that I knew that the main fabric was connected to the zip. And then, like I said, we are just going to put our lining fabric directly on top and then repin that to the zip and to the main fabric. This is what it should look like if you pull it out. And then now we're just going to sew along that pinned edge. Remember to use a zipper foot. This will help you a lot to get a really clean look. So after that, this is what it should look like. So you can clearly see when you move the lining to the back that it sits so nicely. And then what we're going to do now is that we're just going to iron it down, and then we're going to top stitch along that edge. We're also going to repeat this step to the other side of the fabric. So it should look like this once you've sewn both sides to the fabric. And now what you're going to do is that you're going to take your main fabrics and sandwich them together, and we're going to take our lining fabrics and sandwich them together, and we're going to stitch along that long 23 centimeter edge. We're now going to maneuver this around, just, play with it a few times until your lining is on top of your main fabric. So it should look something like this once you have done it. And now we're going to move on to the tags. So you're going to take those squares, fold them in half, right sides together, and we're going to sew along the non-folded edge. From doing that, you're going to use a loop turner, or you can use a safety pin just to put them back right sides facing outwards. And then if you want to, you can top stitch around the whole strap, but in my case I just iron them so they're nice and flat, and then you're going to fold them in half. We're going to take a little bag strap and we're going to place it on the non-zip side in that side seam there. So you can just pin it in place. I like to pin it in place so that it doesn't move when I connect those two long sides together, if you understand what I mean. So we're going to do it on both sides. So you look at where the side seam is, make sure the tab is between that, and then you're going to pin it down and then sew them on just where the tag is, not along the whole side seam. Now we're going to connect where the zipper is and where that tag is along that side seam. So just make sure you get all 4 layers of fabric together, and also make sure you push that tag to the inside so it's not stuck on the inside of the bag. Just pin them together, make sure everything lines up, push that tab in, and then we are going to sew along that edge. And we're going to repeat this for the other side as well. So it should look something like that once you've sewn it. This I didn't put as a material, but we're just going to bias bind the edge so you don't see this raw edge inside the bag. So you can get a random piece of fabric, sew it onto that raw seam, and then once doing that you can just fold that extra piece of fabric over and then sew along that edge. Now we're just repeating the same steps. Take that extra piece of fabric, sew it along that seam edge, and then you're going to fold it over and then re-sew it. And that's what you should be left with. And this is what it should look like. And now the fun begins. We've got 4 holes to close, so we're going to spread them open, matching the side seams with one another, and we're going to sew along that edge. And we're going to basically do the exact same thing where we're going to get a strip of fabric, it could be your lining fabric, and we're going to bias bind that seam edge so that it looks a lot neater. So you're just going to sew them closed firstly, and then after you have sewn them closed, we are going to bias bind that edge. So at the end it should look something like this without the bias binding done to it. So when you look at it, when you turn it inside out, it should look all nice and neat. But now we need to fix the inside up because she can't be looking like that. I didn't even pin this down, I'm not kidding, I just did it freehand. You can reduce the bulk in that seam if it's a bit too bulky, and then we're just going to fold it over and then stitch along that seam. Very simple, very easy. So after doing that 4 times, this is what it should look like in the inside at the end. So you have quite a lot of corners that have been bias bound, but at least they're nice and sturdy now, and it looks very pretty from the inside. Just use your finger to push out those edges, and then that's your bag done. And here is my camera bag. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope it was understandable, and I hope you guys make your own cute little versions of it. So yeah, if you haven't already, you can like, you can subscribe, and you can comment something silly. Yeah. Anyway guys, bye.